Yo, what's up, everybody? Hey, man, BK here. I am gonna do something on Atlas Fallen too. I wanted to do something else today. We did like kind of like a brain dump video that I sort of liked, but I really wanted to get it out because it was on my mind and I had written some of it. But I also had an article I wanted to do another video on that kind of goes into the approach to combat for Atlas Fallen because that is honestly what is most exciting for me about this game. And so I thought I would pull that up for everyone. It's actually from Xbox. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to pull that up and just kind of run through this, y'all. But it's essentially, it says tailor your approach to combat with Atlas Fallen's versatile Essence Stones. And Essence Stones and Atlas Fallen are magical objects that empower the Gauntlet Bearer with a wide range of effects and abilities. And you can vary your character build using Essence Stones to help adapt your playstyle to any given situation. So it seems like these Essence Stones are tied to a sort of play style that you may or may not go into. My daughter's kind of over here playing, but I saw this, had an idea, and was like, you know what, we should definitely cover this because this is what makes Atlas Fallen really unique, right? 'Cause outside of the fact that it's also like all sand monsters, which is pretty cool. So what it says essentially is that Atlas is a sand-covered world filled with mysteries, dangers, and terrifying creatures, which we covered in the previous video. But what the big thing here is the Essence Stones. And Essence Stones aim to turn combat into a massive playground where you can feel in charge and experiment with individual stones and shape them into your own tailored character by modifying traits like damage, tricks, momentum, survivability, and healing. These stones can be obtained primarily through the game's fusion system, collecting formula, materials, and essence cores by defeating enemy rates, purchased by the mysterious traveling vendor, discovered in forgotten chests throughout the world, and sometimes as a quest reward. Essence stones are linked to the momentum system, and this is the system we were discussing that makes the combat really different. Is because it's like a risk reward system, and the momentum system is generated in combat when you strike the enemies. It's represented with a gauge. It's going to fill up, and the more momentum you accumulate, the more powerful you become. But momentum and the essence stones can make you very powerful, but there is a catch, and that's that momentum will increase your damage. You will the momentum is going to increase the damage you receive. So the more momentum you build, the more damage you're going to receive, but also the bigger the abilities and more punch you're going to have. So it's going to make you more vulnerable. So bear in mind that hoarding momentum is also a riskier approach to combat. This sounds really interesting, tug of war, and that is why I'm the most excited to check this game out, y'all, when it launches. So, for an example, they say, let's say you're fighting a group of weaker monsters, and one of the bigger monsters, you can use the smaller ones to build up momentum and use the final attack against the larger monster. But since you're in a group combat, keep in mind that you can get hit, and the more momentum you have, the you might take some critical hits. So you can kind of see how that system is pretty layered and nuanced, and I think that's a really interesting combat system. There's a lot to try out combination wise. It can also be interesting to vary the builds you're using to adapt your playstyle to any situation. And there are going to be build presets that allow you to save up to 3 different Essence Stone builds so that you can switch on the fly. Gotta love loadouts as long as you are out of combat. This way you can save your favorite build while using your other 2 presets to experiment or adapt approaches. And they have an example for a build here, which is an active stone called an Endmos Wrath, which also happens to be a special tainted essence stone. And tainted stones are more powerful, but inflict negative effects as well. In this case, Endmos Wrath massively increases his damage output, but lowers his HP to 1 and prevents him from healing while in use. That sounds ridiculous. I counter the negative effects with 3 passive stones, which all grant a buff below a certain level of HP, such as automatically generating momentum, shortening the cooldown of active stones, and increasing damage even more. The final piece of this build is a passive stone called Saving Grace, which prevents the damage of a fatal blow, then enters a cooldown. Considering the very high risk of this build, Saving Grace complements it beautifully. Another build involves combining several essence stones from the tricks category, allowing one stone to slow down wraths, like Clockmaster, an active stone that spawns a large bubble, which all wraths and their projectiles are slowed down. That feels pulled right out of Outriders. Couple that with timely crystallization, a passive stone that grants a small chance to stun slowed rates. And if the stun works, 3 other passive stones add extra stun based effects. So you can kind of see where they were going with this and how cool this system is. I thought this was a really short but great article to kind of discuss what is really separating Atlas Fallen apart from other RPGs. Because obviously all RPGs have an open world with exploration and gear and all of that. The real sell here is this momentum system and these stones, these essence stones. Thank you so much, y'all, again, for all the support we've been getting here. I know I've done a lot of Remnant 2 stuff. I will be like I said before, be covering this game as we lead up to launch, and I'm gonna play it. So we'll have some Let's Plays for it. I'm also gonna be continuing to do some Baldur's Gate 3 stuff. It's a very big game, and since I'm a dad and don't have all the time in the world, you probably won't see like as many build videos and things inside Baldur's Gate 3 outside of just stuff I find to be really fun. And you can continue watching for Remnant 2 content. And I'm also going to cover Starfield and Lords of Fallen. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content, and leave me a comment on anything you think I should cover or you want to see or you want to hear. I'm also going to start a podcast, and I'm going to be putting that on here. That'll be every other week. That's going to be really fun. Just a bunch of really nice gamers getting together, sharing their thoughts and opinions on games. It's going to be called The Opinionated Gamer, the OGs. Thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful fucking weekend. Hitman BK out.